What's up YouTube? Capital G here, Duel Commentary. I ran into something that wasn't mainstream, and on a whim I just decided to go ahead and record it. Alright, so as you can see, I'm playing Blackwings, and I actually have been testing out a few more decks in the format. You guys will see those shortly. Open up with a pretty reactive hand. I can't use the Blizzard turn 1, so I'm going to activate cards for Black Feathers on that. I've got Pod Duality 2. That makes the hand really good. I see a lower, Bottomless, and Icarus. I don't want Bottomless or Icarus because I don't know what I'm playing against, and I feel like if you get Icarus attack and you're going first, and you kind of have to plan to lose your monster, so I'm going to get a lower so I can get Daybreak out of my hand. That's also a card I'm considering dropping from my deck since I learned that it's a condition and not part of an effect. So I draw Solemn Warning and Bora, so you know I've got Bora plus Kalut, Max C, a bunch of good defensive cards, so I think I'm just going to summon that Bora and I'm going to sit on my defense. I always kind of defaultly assume that I'm playing Dragon Rulers, and this will be a good opening hand versus Dragon Rulers because I have the Max C, I have Kalut. It'd be better if it was Shura because, you know, I could get another monster or whatever, but, you know, this hand isn't bad. Alright, so he's going to set 2, play card D. I don't like when my opponent gets easy advantage for not really doing anything, and I had to burn the warning on that. I'm not going to let him go +1. You know, because then he's already at an advantage. I don't have, you know, Icarus attack, which of course I drew, just as I say that. But I didn't have a way to make easy advantage, so I wasn't going to let him make easy advantage. Now the Icarus attack, you know, definitely makes my backfield a little better because, you know, if he tries to play something like a Deep Prison or obviously some type of removal, I can Icarus and I can go plus. I still have no idea what I'm playing against. You know, when he summoned the card D, I kind of assumed Insectors. But then you see he's playing Necro Valley, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm playing Gravekeepers. They don't run Royal Tribute anymore, so they can kind of keep cards in their hand. And he starts looking in his extra deck, and I'm like, what's he doing? He removes for Stardust, and I'm kind of thinking it's Gravekeepers / Malefics. He attacks, and I hit him with Mirror Force. Now, I'm kind of expecting him to like either Solemn Warn me, or excuse me, either Dark Bribe or like, you know, use some type of counter trap. So that's why I used that instead of just going straight for the Kalut. And plus, you know, he could have had like a Forbidden Lance. He summons Beast King and main phase 2, and I'm like, okay, I'm playing Malefics. I'm cool with that. I end up hitting a Pot of Duality off the top. I get Pot of Duality, don't want it. Deep Prison, I want that, and Bora, I definitely don't want that. So I'm gonna take the Deep Prison. That's the only one that really makes sense in this situation. Now, he doesn't have a hand, so I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot as far as just card advantage goes. Unfortunately, I know my Max C is practically as dead as his Necro Valley. I'd probably say that his Necro Valley might be a little more live because I play Blizzard. But, yeah, I attack. I'm kind of expecting him to play Skill Drain, but he doesn't, so I'm like, all right, in the damage step, I'm just going to hit you with Kalut, so you can't Skill Drain me. And if you have Forbidden Lance at this point, you know, your Beast King would still die. So, you know, I figured I might as well go ahead, get that off the board. He doesn't have any monsters, and worst case scenario, if he summons something that can get over Bora, I still have the Deep Prison. Plus, I've got Icarus attack where I can get rid of the Bora, target some of his back row cards, and make him attack me directly. He just sets a card and passes. I'm like, great, you don't have a monster. But I end up drawing another Icarus attack. So as you can see, my hand is kind of dead now. He uses the Deep Prison, which I wanted, so I'm going to blast him with Icarus attack. I'm asking if he has a response, and then he hits me with Dark Bribe, which is a card that I kind of put him on when he put all those cards in the back row. Alright, so I got the 2 for 2 that I wanted anyway, so I still feel pretty good. Now, I had the dead Icarus attack, which he made live. Now, the reason I didn't summon Kalut is because I didn't want to summon into a Torrential or a Solemn Warning or something. I wanted to at least wait for the Icarus attack, and I got rewarded. You know, I ended up top decking Black Whirlwind, so now I can obviously get my Gale from my deck unless he's going to get rid of Black Whirlwind or something. You know, the Blizzard wouldn't be a good play because obviously I can't activate its effect, and if he summons a big monster, then I can use Gale obviously to cut it down in size. So, you know, Gale is just like by far the better card in this situation. He's still looking for a monster, and I have the life point lead. I think I have the card advantage lead too. I drew Sirocco, which is practically useless in this situation, but I'm just pretty much content on attacking and knowing that if he puts something in front of me, not only can I Deep Prison it, but you know I can hit him with Icarus attack as well. So I'm going to Deep Prison him. when he declares his attack. I'm kind of expecting either like a 7 tools or something like that. He uses Dark Bribe, so obviously I'm going to draw a card. D-Prison's not going to be, what's it called? D-Prison's just going to go to the graveyard. Now, before the attack actually goes through, just because you negate something doesn't mean the attack goes through, I'm going to activate Icarus attack. He can keep his Beast King. I don't really care about that. I'm going after his back row. But he hits me with another Dark Bribe, which lets me draw another Whirlwind. So I'm like, great. So obviously now he has a replay because I no longer have a monster on field, and I'm just gonna go ahead and eat that 1900. Now if I was around 3K, he could hit me like with Forbidden Chalice, and that could end up ending the game. But you know, I had 6,000 life points. I'm in a good spot. He hits me with Bottomless, and you know, Icarus is in my hand. I think I drew all 3 of my Icaruses actually. Yeah, looking back, I drew all 3 Icarus attacks. So but he knows that he needs to do something. And as you can see, I was going to go ahead and discard Max C just in case he wanted to summon like a cyber monster, because Max C is just a dead card anyway, but he just went the battle phase so quick. So I'm going to summon Shura. If he does anything funny, not trying to let me get my double Whirlwind off, I'm going to immediately Icarus attack him. Here's what I didn't expect. He plays Forbidden Lance, and I'm like, huh. I don't really, because now my Shura, the Whirlwinds can only read 1,000 attack. So obviously, you know, there's nothing, you know, that kind of sucks because I can't really trigger my Whirlwinds. I think I could have searched my Daybreak. No, wait. No, that's right. I removed Daybreak earlier in the duel. Alright, so I'm going to press on knowing he only has one card in his back row. And I was going to try and cut Beast King in half, expecting him to trigger something. But he does. He plays Skill Drain. He plays the 1,000. Now I'm just going to hit him with Icarus attack. Obviously, I could just special summon Bora and I could attack for game. So he just scoops it up, knowing that he's in a bad position. He doesn't have anything left on the field. Plus, I had the evac anyway, if for some reason I didn't have the Bora. All right, so as you can see, taking out the Maxis because they're not going to do me any good in that matchup. And I'm going to side in the MSTs. You know, maybe he leaves a Malefic monster on the field and I can blast his Necro Valley. I'd actually prefer to use MSTs against his back row and let him keep the Necro Valley, because it's not a card that makes any advantage of him or makes any advantage for him. As you can see, I don't play Dark Arm Dragon in my deck, and the only card that actually affects would be the Blizzards, but I can still summon them. So, you know, I could still use them for Icarus or Kalut or something like that. Now, as you can see, once again, I have a very reactive hand. Actually, this is quite a terrible hand. Double Fiendish Chain, Icarus attack, Dark Hole, and Kalut. This is the type of hand where if you had this hand against Dragon Rulers, you basically just scoop because you're just going to get smashed. Not to mention, he started off with Karkar-D once again, so he's already +1. So, as you can see, I have to be extremely defensive. I summon Kalut because it's not really going to do anything. I don't have any monsters to use it with. I kind of just want him to waste removal on it. Like, I want him to Torrential or D-Prison or something like that, because then I'm like, okay, well, you know, at least now I know that you don't have that card to use for Ashura. You know, I've got the Icarus attack to protect it, but, yeah, it's not a very good hand. Not to mention, when I commit it to the field, my Dark Hole becomes a lot less effective. I think he hit Skill Drain, Dark Bribe, and Malefic Cyber in. Now, if I was him, knowing that I only have one card in hand, I honestly would have went for the Skill Drain. Just because, you know, if he has like a Beast King plus a Skill Drain, man, he could do a ton of work. But the only thing that I can think of is that he has a whole bunch of purple cards, and he doesn't think that he has a bunch of ways to protect his monsters. And that's one of the problems with the Malefic deck. You know, Blackwings don't really have that problem, because if your monster's threatened, you can just Icarus attack them. If you're playing Spellbooks, then you can just, you know, Spellbook of Wisdom, whatever it is. You know, a lot of decks play Lance, but in this deck, you know, you run so few monsters that if you don't have like the Lance or, you know, a Dark Bribe, which gives your card, it gives your opponent a card, you know what I mean? Your monsters are really susceptible to removal, and you don't run a lot of them anyway, and none of them are searchable. So it's like, you know what I mean? He plays Necro Valley. Now, knowing that he had the Dark Bribe, here was my game plan. I was going to try and use Fiendish Chain right as he entered battle phase, and I was hoping he would Dark Bribe it. Like, Fiendish Chain is not good against his deck, because it turns Beast King into 3,000. You know, if I Fiendish Chain this Malefic Stardust, then his other monsters can attack. Like, it's not a good card against the deck. I was hoping that he would Dark Bribe it, but he didn't fall for the Dark Bribe, which it kind of sucks now because, you know, I've got Kalute on board. It can't attack over anything. I've got Dark Hole, which I can't play. I've got Sirocco in my hand, which is completely dead. It's just a really bad, it's a bad look. So he hits Beast King, Bottomless, and Skill Drain. Again, if I was him, I would definitely go for the Skill Drain, unless he already has one. You know, I don't have a ton of side for what his deck is trying to do. So, you know, he's taking the Beast King. Now, obviously, I've got the D presence to keep the Beast Kings at bay, but I still feel like it's definitely advantage him because, I mean, he can just sit with that damn Stardust on board, and I can't do anything. Like, even with the MST that I drew, if I MST his field spell, well, Malefic Stardust's effect is negated, so it won't die. So, Fiendish Chain is just a terrible card against this deck. I honestly, I should have probably sided it out for, like, anything else. Maybe like, Gozen Match. I think I run Gozen Match on my side. I don't think I run it in this side deck. Anyways, as you can see, we're both kind of just passing back and forth. He plays Deck Devastation Virus, and I kind of get where he's coming from. Not only can he kill the Kalute, but there's possibly 3 cards in my hand he can get rid of. Unfortunately for him, I have the Icarus attack. Now, he plays Dark Bribe, which is fine because I'm still getting my 2 for 2. You know, I'm going to draw a card. Now, as you guys can see, I have absolutely nothing he can hit. So, he really needs to be looking at my draw phases and just, like, really crossing his fingers and hoping that he gets, you know, a Kalute or a Gale or a Blizzard or something. The thing about that card is it's really good against my deck game 1 because, you know, I've got the Maxi, I've got Daybreak, I've got 2 Blizzards, Gale, 3 Kalutes. But after that, you know, when I side Daybreak out and I'm siding Maxi out, that card's really not that good against me. So he attacks into a D prison, he books it, and I felt good about that because I'm like, okay, you must really want to protect that Beast King. It must like be your only monster or something like that. And considering I have Dark Hole and I've got a what's it called? I have D prison, then I'm in a good position. Now I think I made a mistake here. I think I should have just Dark Hold that the what's it called? I think I should have just Dark Hold the Beast King. The problem is my hand is kind of set up where I have all this removal, right? Like I've got Dark Hole and D prison, but then I've got Sirocco. And that's like he needs to have a monster on board for me to be able to use it. You know what I mean? But all the things he's gonna put on the board are probably gonna be bigger than that. So I don't know. It's a hand that doesn't really work well against this deck. Like Sirocco's not a great card against this. Now as you can see, I play Duality. I get Bora, Torrential Tributes, and Solemn Warning. Now against a deck like this where he rarely ever summons more than one monster in a turn, I'm just gonna take the Torrential because Torrential and Warning are going to do the same thing against his deck, but the difference is if he happens to Dark Bribe me, I'll have saved, you know, 2,000 life points. Whatever he summons is going to die anyway, so, you know, why waste 2,000 life points so early in the game? He's just passing turn, and as you can see, I drew yet another copy of Sirocco, so now I've got 2 Blackwing monsters in my hand that I can't summon, and my whole back row is just kind of locked, so I would say as he builds up purple cards, I would probably say advantage him. You know, and I think I have an MST down there somewhere. Yeah, I've got an MST. I've got an Icarus attack, which is dead. I think I'm waiting for him to summon something so I can torrential him. And I think he's trying to throw his worst monster at me so that he can get rid of the torrential without having to waste something since he knows that I have it. You know what I mean? And I think we're both kind of trying to see what the effect of torrential is going to be. So he summons Beast King, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take that one for one. I'm just going to go ahead and torrential. And he knew that I was probably going to do that. So in his mind, he's probably thinking, all right, I'm not going to waste anything big on torrential. Let's get that out the way. Now, I drew the perfect card here. Cards for Black Feathers, so I can get rid of one of these fucking Siroccos. I can actually draw some cards that I actually need. And let's see what I get. I'm going to get a Bora and an Evac. Evac is decent against his deck. Again, not great because he doesn't synchro. He doesn't really exceed. I play Pot of Duality. I can't special summon this turn anyway. And I'm going to see a copy of Daybreak, Shura, and MST. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to take MST. I say that because he has so many freaking back row cards. You know what I mean? So, I think I should summon Bora and just attack, knowing that I've got Icarus attack to back me up. Yeah, I think that would be the best play here. He doesn't have a response. And again, he's at 5,200. So at some point, dude has to start thinking about his life points. He's going to play the D Prison, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and activate Icarus Attack, trying to get some cards. And he plays 7 Tools of the Bandit, a card that I think is actually really good right now, and I'll talk about that in a later video. Now, again, I still get the 2 for 2 that I wanted. I still get D Prison and 7 Tools, so I still feel like I'm in a good position. I would say on advantage we're about even, but you know, I still have the Dark Hole. Now, I think I made a mistake. I think I should have got rid of that Sirocco. It's not a card that does anything because all the monsters he puts in front of me are bigger than Sirocco, so it's like Sirocco's not a good counterplay against this deck. Alright, so I'm going to blast him with double MST, hitting the 2 cards he just set. I hit Skill Drain and Warning. Those are definitely 2 good cards. I drew a Bottomless, and at this point, if I don't get rid of Sirocco, I'm just an idiot. Alright, so I'm going to allure him, or I'm going to allure myself, and that ladies and gentlemen, is just broke. Getting rid of Sirocco and drawing Whirlwind plus Bora, I mean, that's really good Yu-Gi-Ohs. Alright, so I summon, or I try and activate Black Whirlwind, and the second I do, he MSTs it. He should have probably just waited to see what I was going to summon first, because I might have summoned something like a Kalut, which wouldn't have been that helpful or whatever. But yeah, he can't stop these attacks. And now that he only has 4 cards, I would kind of say that it's advantage me, because not only do I have a Bottomless for whatever he summons, but you know, I've got a monster on board, and I'm not so certain that he has a monster. So in a deck with only about 12 monsters, me having a monster right now is critical. You know, he has to basically answer what I'm doing, otherwise, you know, he's in jeopardy of losing. So he Mirror Forces a Bora, and I'm like, I'll take that all day. If you're going to use Mirror Force on, you know, a card that's not particularly great against your deck anyway, then I'll take that all day. I play, or obviously I drew another copy of Black Whirlwind, and I'm going to summon my Gale, obviously being able to get the Daybreak. I left Daybreak in. All I did was side out the Maxis. Now, he played Evac on me, and I'm thinking, alright, you're obviously in a very desperate position. The one good thing about that is since he took a -1, if he summons something big, I know that I can evac him, and, you know, basically I'm still kind of even. Now, I summoned Gale back again, and in hindsight, this was probably a mistake because, you know, yeah, I can get Daybreak and whatnot, but if I would have had Zephyr, if I would have summoned Zephyros, I could have gotten Kalut and just attacked, and I mean, that would have been game if he didn't immediately have an answer. So I think that was definitely a misplay. You know, I mean, yeah, he's gonna eat the 1300. I mean, I think I'm probably in a position where I can win this game, but that was a mistake. You know, anything he summons, you know, if he tries to summon something big, I can Fiendish Chain it, and then obviously on top of that, I can use Gale's effect. But you know, that's in addition to the Bottomless that I have. He tries to summon Malefic Stardust, and obviously he's going to. I'm going to try and Bottomless it. He plays what's it called, Forbidden Lance. Now here's the interesting thing. He doesn't attack. You know, I guess he's figuring maybe I have Kalut, but the thing is, if I had Kalut, I would have used it last turn. So with his monster being at 1800, or excuse me, 1700, he definitely should have took that opportunity to attack. So especially considering I'm just going to cut it in half. Now he pays 1,000 for the skill drain because he doesn't want his monster, you know, going to 1250 and being ran over. But that doesn't work out for him because I finally get some use out of that Dark Hole. And then now I can summon Daybreak and attack. And, you know, he probably didn't want to, or he probably didn't have anything for Daybreak. You know, if he had a Bottomless, obviously that he couldn't use that or something like that. So, pretty good duel here. Again, main reason I decided to upload it was because it was against a deck that you don't see very often. Thank you guys for watching as always, and take care.